Hello, Gyan.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello, hello. Are you guys able to hear me? So we'll be starting in session in like few minutes. Let's wait for some more people to join. We'll wait for 3 to 4 more minutes and then we can start. Hello everyone.
Hello Krishna, hello Aman. 2 more minutes and then we'll start the session 3. I see that 24 people have joined. It's good. So now we'll be starting our session 3, which is styling and data binding in Lightning Web Component. So please subscribe to our channel SFTC Amplified on YouTube and to our blog as well. About me, myself, Ganeshwar Malba. I'm a Salesforce consultant, 4 times Salesforce certified, and these are my LinkedIn and Twitter handles, so you can follow me here. So our session will be every week, and it will be the timings you can see on the screen: 8 p.m. Indian Standard Timing, 10:30 EST, and 7:30 PST timing. So the first topic today, so styling in Lightning Web Component. That is first topic, and the agenda for this is Cascading style sheets and Salesforce Lightning design system. So the difference between Cascading style sheet and a Salesforce Lightning design system in LWC. The first one is Salesforce Lightning design. This system, it includes many resources to create user interface, which is consistent with Salesforce Lightning principles. It helps us to give the Lightning look and feel, and the CSS, it helps us to modify styling our own way in the LWC components. SLDS, it helps us build applications with the Lightning experience without writing a single line of CSS. And coming to CSS, it describes how HTML elements are to be displayed on screen or any other media. Next, style LWC components with Salesforce Lightning design system. So basically, it is a framework, CSS framework, that provides look and feel of Lightning experience. It's easy to spot SLDS styles because they begin with SLDS. Now, this example today we'll be creating one SLDS. We'll be using the SLDS feature in one of the Lightning Web Component. So I'll be sharing the screen. So let me go ahead and create Lightning component. Let's give session 3 LWC, and we'll select the default directory, which is, it should be here, the LWC folder we'll be having. Till it loads, I'll show the SLDS design system, LWC. So you can see here can see different features like icons, which we can directly use. Here, if you see directly, we can use this in our code, and I'll show you how to use that. So here it is. So you guys can see, so whenever we create a Lightning component, there are 3 files which gets created. One is the HTML, the second is JavaScript, and third is the XML. So let's create a button, and Lightning button. So what I'll be doing, I'll be creating a button, and we'll be using the SLDS feature to style this button. Lightning button.
So there is one attribute called variant here. So we'll be adding that to the button. So it gives us different look, and I'll show you by changing the variant, different variants. I'll show you the how it looks. Let's give some label to the button. Let's say SFTC amplified, and then can give a title, session 3 LWC, and then let's give an event which is, let's say, on click. On click will be giving function here which will be in the JavaScript file, which is let's say handle click. Next, I'll add just a class and I'll give some styling. So whenever you see SLDS, it means that we are using the SLDS library or those references here, designing system. Left X, let's say, let's keep it small. It should be underscore. I'll show you guys from where it came. Close the lightning button, and so what we'll do here, I'll create one div to display the text, some text, and some lightning, this lightning button. So in the div as well, we can add a class to make it more style. Like we can give like same vertical, and let's say medium size. Okay, and then let's write some. This is our session 3 LWC, and then you can call that function, which is, we can give a name here, some button, so click button. So this function we can define, this property we can define in our JavaScript. So the next, close and then close the div. So this is, we created a button. Now in order to see this button, this is my local dev. So this is very handy and useful to test the changes what we make in our Lightning Web component. So you can see here the session 3 LWC component. You can see here the button SFDC amplified, and you can see the text. This is our session 3 LWC. And if you would like to, let's say if you would like to change to it different, let's say destructive, if you save, it will get reflected here. You can see here as soon as I save it. So here the changes take place. You can see here the styling of the button. It got red, and then we can change it to again different variant. So I'll change it to success. So if it looks again, as soon as we save it, you can see here how it got changed to again different styling. So this is one of the use case of using like Lightning design system in our Lightning component. So we don't have to do it anything like custom. It's just built and then we can use it directly. Like I can show you here from where exactly we got the. So there are predefined. So you can see here the brand, the variant which I used, the destructive, the success. So these are the variants what I have used. So you can see here the first one is just a link, and if let's say if we don't select any variant here, if we don't give any value, then it will by default it will take as neutral, which is this one, the second one. So if we just remove this, we can see that in the code. It's loading. So you can see here this is a neutral variant. So yeah, so this is one of the example where we have used one of the attribute from SLDS for lightning button, which was variant, to pick different design variations like we have seen for success, for some which are built in, for destructive. So this was the example for the SLDS. So next, coming to custom CSS. Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello. Okay. Sorry guys for the voice. Just a second. Are you guys able to hear me now fine? Without echo? Hello. Are you guys able to hear me now fine? I think there is some issues with audio from YouTube, so sorry for that. Just a minute guys, I'll try to see just a minute guys, is it still echo? Is there still echo? Just a minute guys, or is it fine? Is it still echo? Is there still echo? Just a minute guys, or is it fine? Is it still echo? How about now? Is it fine now? Okay, looks better now. Sorry for the disturbance guys. So now we'll go ahead, we'll be discussing custom CSS, cascading style sheets. So to style a component, we can create our own style sheet file, which is a CSS file and can be in a bundle with a component, lightning web component with this, but the CSS file name, it is must that it should be the same as the lightning web component name. Example, I'll show it in the practical. So here you can see HTML, JavaScript and XML file we have. So if you right click and create a new file, here make sure we give the same name which we have for the component. for our CSV file, and the extension will be .css at the end. So here we can define different CSS stylings for our Lightning Web component. So if you would like to see, so I'll remove this. I want to use it in the JavaScript. So you can see this is what we have in our component for now. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and I'll add the styling here. This is not through the SLDS though, but it's just our own styling using CSS file. So here we can add, like for a paragraph, what we have, we can add like background color equals to, say, light blue, and if you save, then we'll go ahead and we'll see it on our, you can see here the background got changed to light blue now. So this is easy to change the background, but one thing here, let's say I'll create some examples for the CSS. I'll create, let's say we have a component which is a session 3 current component that we have. Let me create one more component like a child component, and let's see if this is child for session 3 LWC. So we'll be creating the same directory. So what I'll try to show you guys today is how we can change the lightning or like the styling of another component from one component, that is from through the session 3 LWC. We'll be trying to changing the styling for the child for session 3 LWC. So in order to change this or make effect, first we need to add this component in our HTML file in the parent component. So let's say here I'll add C. So child, see we get here, and then close this. So here what I did is we have one more component which is child for session 3 LWC. So that component I have added in the session 3 LWC. So let's make changes. Let's have some code here. Let's say there is a h1 heading. Hello everyone, thank you for joining this session on DC Amplified. So let's say we have some text and in the h1 tags in the child component, and we would like to do the styling. We are trying to do the styling changes for this from the parent component. So if we come here, you can see here h1 next. So let's say we'll change first. Before that, let's see what we have in the component. So let it load. Let me try it in the div. We go here, we have h1, fine. You see here it is a child. Let's see if it's displaying. Yes, this is the text. So you can see here the child has this text which is h1. So if you would like to change the, let's say, styling for this which is in the child, let's try to do it from the parent, which is, so here this is a parent component, and let's try to change the styling and let's see if that takes place. So let's say font size, if I increase the font size to, let's say we had here XX large, then see here if it changes the font size for the component. Or we can say like C hyphen the child, which is child for session, the same way as we have defined it here. So if we save this, let's try to, let's give some border like 4 pixels, and the color, let's give blue. So basically this is how we will be doing, like providing the styling the child component from the parent component. So this is one of the things we can do. Or we can just define like own CSS component, not for this, but we'll define for this. The child, we can define old CSS component, child for session LWC dot the extension will be CSS. Let's try to define here. We have heading. Let's h1. So let's give it the background color to say light green. Save it and let's see here. So now you can see, so we can give it as a separate CSS to each component, or we can sometimes we can use one component and apply same styling for other components what it has. So this is one of the way using CSS. So now next we'll be going to, but we should make sure that the file name should be the same as our component name. So in this picture you can see the component LWC component. The component name is my component. So the CSS file which we have created or which we will be creating for this component will be my component.css. So it should be the same as our lightning component. So this is the demo we have done. We have looked at demo. So basically each component have only one style sheet. Only one CSS file can be created for every or for each lightning web component. And yep. So the next topic, SVG in Lightning Web Component. So what is SVG? So and why we use SVG in Lightning Web Component. So this is the agenda we'll be looking at. What is SVG? Differences between the SVG and other images like pixel images, JPEG, PNG, and ways to use SVG in our Lightning Web Component. So SVG, it's a web standard XML based markup language. It's a scalable vector graphics. It will be in the XML format. One of the examples you can see here in this picture, these are the starting and end tag SVG, and we can define our own image here. We can define the shape, we can define the length, the height, the width, and yeah. So Lightning Web Component provides full built-in support for using the SVGs. And before going ahead creating SVG in a demo, I would like to share some points why SVG is better like compared to all other images or what can be used. So pixel images like those are like JPEG, GIF, PNG or BMT or PSD. These formats, they are difficult to scale like or change. So whenever we try to zoom in those pictures, it starts breaking because it is already break into fixed pixels, and what we are trying to do, if we are trying to zoom out the image, we are trying to break those pixels into more granularity. And then pixel defines the color for each individual pixel of the image. Coming to SVG, here this is like it doesn't lose any quality when we scale, like when we zoom in, when we zoom out. It can be easily created and modified. It also takes less space on our disk, and it is like XML based. It is easy to use with HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. The image format for SVG is CDR or SVG or AI. So in this image, you can see here to the left, we have a pixel image. So whenever we try to zoom, so these are already divided into 4 pixels, and if you can see here, we are trying to divide it into 16 pixels. The image is little blurred. So that's how the image gets distorted and it gets blurred if we try to zoom in or zoom out. And to the right, you can see here one of the example, the SVG versus the PNG, SVG versus the pixel image. So if we zoom in, it is blurred to the right, and this is clear, and this is in the SVG. So SVG is really good if we would like to use any of the image or create any image, custom image, and can be used easily in Lightning Web Component. So how do we use SVG? So basically there are 3 ways. Today I'll be trying to complete 2 ways. The first one is using the SVG inside an HTML template. And the second one is we can create a different component. Like we have created 2 components previously. Similarly, we can create a different Lightning Web Component just for the SVGs, and we can use it, we can call it with a decorator, as we have a decorator at API. So we can use that decorator and we can call that property particular SVG in any component. Next, storing the SVG in a static resource. So I'll be showing today how to use inside the template, HTML template, and how we can use as a static resource and how we can pull that in our code. So I'll be showing you guys the SVG, the simple SVG, how we can use SVG or create it in our component. See if I take the previous example, which is session 3 LWC HTML component. Here, let's create an SVG. So SVG, it's the same as like tag. We need to create the starting and the end tag. So let's define it here. First, let's say we are defining an image. Let's give some height. Let's say 100, and then let's give some width. Say 100. Save this, and then let's define a circle image. So the x-axis for this, let's say 50. We have more dimensions here, and then let's say radius is 40, and I'll give around like the circular a stroke, which is, let's say I'll give a black color, and define a stroke width as well, which is the line, the border line. Let's say we'll define it as 3, and let's fill the circle with some color, say blue, and let's close the circle tag, save, and let's see. So this is the simple SVG which we have created, and this is one of the first way, as we have discussed in the previous slide, that we can define the SVG in the template, which is HTML template. So let me go ahead and let's go to the previous component. This is our component where we have created. Okay, so it says duplicate attribute. Let's try and fix this. So let's define rectangle. So if we see the SVG triangle, WC, and here can use a component reference, or you can see the playground here. So here we have different. So SVG circle. Let's see. So let me define here. So I guess CS is repeated twice here, that is the reason. Delete this file as we have used it. Let's try to save this. Or I can create a new component. Session 3 SVG the same. Let's take circle. Let me create a new component and I'll use the SVG in the new component. So the new component what we have created is session pre-SVG. Let's see this. So if we go to our playground, let's go to the new component what we have created. So I think I've used this before. So let me try to use the different attribute from the component library here. Or we can see SVG example for LWC. Let's take let's use this in the template. Try to see if this works. Yep, there we go. So this is how we can add SVG in the template. So here we can see we can define the different attributes here. We can change here. We have rectangle, circle, and text. So rectangle, we can change the color. If we say here green, see. Let's say light blue, and let's say this is green. Let's see the difference now. So as soon as we click Control Save, you can see here the difference. So you can see here we can define our own text, our own image, how we would like to do it. We can define the shape and the quality of the image for the SVG, the graphic. It's like the best like compared to all the other pixel images we have, and it is easy to use with the HTML Lightning web components. The reason is it is XML tag based SVG. So this is one way. The other way is using the SVG from the static resource. So what we can do here, I'll open my default org. So I have already defined one of the static resource for SVG in my org, and what we'll be doing, we'll try to use that static resource which we have uploaded in our org in the Lightning Web component. So that is the second way, using SVG in our Lightning Web component. So here I would like to show you guys the static resource what I have uploaded. So here you can see I have two static resources. One is logo, the other is static resource demo SVG. So let's try to use here. So I'll define one more SVG. So the first SVG what we have used, this one, it's directly in the template, but the second SVG what we are trying to do is we are trying to bring that from the static resource which we have in our org. So let's give some attribute. Let's say 400. height for the attribute, let's say 400. And then in order to use the static resource, so we have to use this tag, which is use tag and x link. This is like we are referencing to the static resource in our org, and then providing the name what we give this property. It will be defined in our JavaScript file. So for now, let's say svg url, and then close this. Done. Now what we have to do, we have to go to our JavaScript file. We have to define it here. First we need to import it because it is in our static resource in our org. So import statement. So whenever we try to import, this is how the standard, the syntax from next importing. So provide the some name, provide some name. Let's say svg logo from. So what model we are taking this? So here, so we need @, then we have Salesforce, and then what we have is resource. So this is a resource URL which will be referring, and the name of the static resource. What we have static resource in our org. So we can see here the name of the static resource we have provided is logo. So you have to provide the same name here at the end of this path. So next, in the export method, the next class will be defining svg url, what name we have used, and then this is the dollar symbol to grab the svg logo, and the name what we have provided here in this import statement, use the same name. And then hashtag the name of your resource. So this is how we define, or we try to use the static resource in our org in the Lightning Web component. You can use different files. Save this and let's try to see if we get it. Because I have used that logo before in some component, that is the reason it's not showing. So I can show you guys. Let me open that project. So I'm trying to see that static resource in the local, so that is one of the reason it's not showing here. That's the main reason. So I should show this in my org. So if I go, let me push this component to my org and I can show you guys there. You can see here this is getting pushed to my scratcher. So what I'll be doing, I can show there this the svg component what we have created with the method through using the static resource available in our org. So if you can see at the bottom, it is now we are trying to push. So okay, yeah. So this has failed. I know why, because see here it is not being exposed. So we have to expose this and we have to use. So XML file example, we use this. So in order to expose, we have to go to our XML file. The is expose tag will be false, so make sure that is true, and then wherever we would like to see this component, use this component on record page, app page, home page. For now, for this session, what I'll be doing, I'll be doing it for all the three. Now I'll try to push it again to the scratch all. So record page is any record page we can place, app page, and then home page whenever we log in. So these are the three places what we have set in the targets. There is error, so let's see what's the error. Let's try to do it. See again. Because the SVG what we have defined and used here, SVG URL, the logo here, the logo what we have defined, that is static, and that is the reason we won't be able to see in the local environment. So let's see. So I guess there is some problem with the, let's try to see if we can push the session 3. Let's see if, let's make some changes here. Let's try to see if this component can be moved, pushed to the default scratch all. Looks like there is some issue with my scratch off. So what I'll be doing, I'll be moving ahead with the next topic what we have. And the third one is like create a complete different component for the SVG, and then you can use the operator and decorator with the operators at API, and you can call those in the any other components. So that is recommended. So next, data binding in Lightning Web Component. This is one of the very important topic in Lightning Web Component, which is a data binding. So what exactly is data binding? We have seen different files here. We have seen whenever we create a Lightning Web Component. So I'll just close this, all the files to make it easy. So you have seen. So basically, whenever we create a Lightning Web Component, there are three files: HTML, JS, and XML file gets created. So here it's like the JS is like a model or a controller, and HTML is our view, the front end, the UI. So whenever the data passes from JS to our HTML, that is one-way binding. So the agent for us for this, the data binding will be what exactly data binding is. One-way data binding we'll see in the LWC. I'll show you guys how we can see here. And versus Aura. And we will not be doing Aura. I can show you guys the screenshots and why it is LWC is better than Aura. And then two-way binding, and then track decorator not used anymore. And what was track decorator and why was it used and why it is not being used anymore. Next, data binding. So it is the synchronization of data between two files, like the logic and the view of the application. The logic we can see the JavaScript or the controller can say, that's the model, and the view is our HTML file. So there are two types of data binding. These are one-way data binding and two-way data binding. You can see here in the diagram. So one-way data binding is model plus template will merge and it will be the view. So the data will be passed in only one way. Coming to the two-way data binding, it is the two-way. You can see here update model if the view is changing. If view is changing, we will be updating model, and here update view if the model is changing. If the model changes, again update the view. LWC Lightning Web Component follow one-way data binding approach because this is very complex and it is not recommended, and because of two-way data binding there will be more complexity and more dependency on each and all the other components. So for the Aura we can see here in the Aura component the data binding is like we have the handlers here. You can see C here, and you can see like v dot first name, the setter method. So and here hello v dot first name. So these are like it's little complex compared to LWC, and I'll show you guys how exactly it is in LWC, how we can define it. So if I open LWC, let me show you guys. So let's say here we have this button. Let's open this in the local. So the session pre LWC. So this is our component. So what I'll be doing now, I'll show one-way binding, data binding here. So let's define here let's say some greeting we have. It says SLDS amplified, and we'll be using this. Before that, just define here greeting. So previous, this is the way. So now this is a property what is called in the JavaScript, and this property value is SLDS amplified. So if we would like to use that property and display in the view, which is our HTML file, then we can let's define like a div. Then hello, and then here we have to define the property. So basically we are making a call to the JavaScript. Let me save, and let's see here. Yeah, think here. Let's try to see here. So now you can see here SFDC amplified. This is like one-way binding. So we don't have to define it in the above export. Directly we can define it in the export class, which is our data binding class. Here, like session 3 LWC, which extends the lightning element. Here we have defined this greeting, and then we have used directly that value here. So we are making a call. So basically we are sending the data from JavaScript file to the HTML file, which is a one-way binding, data binding. So this is how we can access any JavaScript property in template surrounding the curly braces and using that property in the HTML template. So whenever we use it, like here in our HTML template, we can say it is a property and it's an attribute. Let's do some styling using the SLDS here. So let's define a class. SLDS, let's say medium, and amount. So if you see now here, it's getting loaded. You can see here the text. If we see next, in the aura component, you can see here. So it lightning component, it is way too better compared to aura component, and it is simpler. Here the value providers like the view and the C. Here you can see here in the setter we are using the view and like the controller here C. So we don't have to use that in the lightning web component compared to the aura component. And even the code, you can see it's very simpler in the lightning web component compared to the aura component. So the next topic of the session will be two-way data binding in lightning web component. So what is two-way data binding? So here is the LWC versus aura again. So LWC, I'll be doing it and I'll be showing how we can see those changes. And coming to aura, you can see here again. So here we have view, here we have controller. So this makes code like bigger and then a little complex to use the two-way binding with events. Here you can see the event in the handle change method here in the JavaScript handle change method. So this is how it is in aura. Now I'll show you guys like how we can define two-way binding, data binding in LWC. So basically two-way data binding in LWC is not possible directly. It is possible using through event listener. So here in the same example, what I'll be doing is I'll show you guys. I'll define here another div and let's define it in this. So before that, again let's give it the same styling to our div class. Next, so let's take one input here, lightning. Input. So let's label, this is like just an input field kind of, just label first name and then value to that. We'll define this variable. It comes, the first name comes from our JavaScript file. And then here, so this is a handler on change. So let's define a method handle change. Lightning. Let's close this. Close the lightning input. And then let's call hello. Use the same value name, which is first name, and then close the div. So now what we'll be doing, we'll see how the value changes. So before that, we see our local. So here you can see here, right now we don't see a value here. There's no value. So what we'll be doing, we'll be passing the value from the JavaScript. So let's define it here, how we'll do it. So now we'll define the first name. So previously we had to use the track decorator here in order to make this property reactive and use in the lightning HTML file. For now, we don't need this. So now we can, all the properties in the lightning web components defined in the JavaScript are reactive. So we have defined a function here which is handle change. Use that function, define it here, and the input will be here, so event. So that means any event happens, this function is called from HTML file. So this dot first name. So we use this key variable to initialize the variable we define in the class itself. So here we have defined the variable which is first name. In order to use that, we have to use this keyword. We can use this keyword and we can define that. So here event dot target dot value. So right now we are taking the value, whatever like value we input here, whatever the value is inputted here, we can even take label or anything, any attribute here instead of value. Next, console log will print here first name is again this dot our first name, then close. Now we can see here, and I can inspect and show you guys how it will change. If I type the name, you can inspect and see here, type the name, you can see here. First I'm trying to, let me close this and let me show you guys here again. So if we click inspect, Go to console, and now so here you can see G, you get G there. As soon as we are typing here, you can see in the console as well the value comes. So basically it is what happening here is, so whenever we are changing the value, the event, so that it comes here on change, it will call this method on the HTML, which is the handle change method. So as soon as it is called, the event happens. You can see here. So basically event.target, which you can see here, this targets whenever change is fired. So whenever we do a change, let's say whenever we start typing, this event.target, it starts fire and it has that value. What it does, it gives that value to the first name property, and this is how it is. So whatever the targeted value, changed value, it is taking, it gives it back to the first name. So this is one of the thing in two-way. So this is a two-way data binding, because as soon as we change the value, this method comes here, handle change, it call to the JavaScript method, which is where we have defined the handle change method. So it takes the event input, and the event or target, what it does, whenever it checks, okay, the value is getting changed, that value we should be providing to first name, and that is where we display. So this is the two-way binding. This is how we can define two-way binding. We can do two-way binding in the Lightning Web component. So the next thing, and here one more thing I would like to show you guys. You can see here we can, instead of going ahead to our Lightning Web component and define, if you like to define any CSS properties here, we can see here. Now you can see, let me define some color. Let's define one color. The LWC.css. So here, for the div property, or for the P, here let's say background color equals to, say, lime green. Save this and let's see if it reflects here. You can see here the background color. So if we come here in the inspect, and see where it is defined. So this is our P, and you can see the color here, the background color here. Here we can see, and let's try to change it from here and see. You guys can see here we are able to change it from here itself. You can experiment, and whichever, so you don't have to go ahead and then change color each time, and you don't have to check that. You can see here different colors we can change, and then let's say I like this one, so this one like this one, save it and then take this and you can define it here in your CSS file. Can do that. So this is one of the way using CSS, and then but when it comes to Aura, you can see it's a big complex, and then we have the controller, viewer, again we have like different component providers here, like v.firstname, c.handle change. These are like component providers. It is like, this is how the data is accessed in the Aura. So the next thing, track decorated. So previously, as I have shown in one of my video, that previously I've shown the track decorator. It's no more used. It's deprecated. So earlier, it was used to make the properties reactive, but now all the fields in the Lightning Web Component class are reactive. If a field's value changes and the field is used in a template, the component renders and displays the new value. So no need to use the track. However, like if we are using any of the property, like let's say if I am using at track is not there, so I'll show you at API to make this property public property, so that any other component can be called. So this is how we define here at track API, and in the import file you need to import API decorator as well from LWC module. So this is how we can define the property decorator at the red symbol, define the property name using the property here, importing from LWC module, and then making this property public if we use at API. We have similar different decorators like wire and here. Thus we use if we would like to access any data from Apex. So this is how it is, and I would like to show you guys the link. Track decorator LWC, you can see the no longer required in the latest released. Is no longer required for Lightning Web Components. All the fields are reactive, so it's a good thing that it's reducing the code complexity. It's making code simple. Yep. So that's all. Any questions? So guys, thank you for joining the session, and yeah, we'll be back again next week, and we'll try to make sure that we cover all the topics and the questions. Thank you.